Hello, everybody. How you all doing today? Feeling good? Okay. I want to wake the energy up in here a little bit, and I think this conversation will do just that. So to get us started, I just want to do a quick introduction to what this panel is all about. Today's panel is not just about disability, but what it really means for Black women to be decision makers, to be creators, to be owners, right, of media and be leaders in media. We have an incredible group of women here who are shaping the industry. So I'm excited to get us into not just what they do, but the thinking behind what they do, right? So we're excited to hear from them today. So as somebody who also owns a business, as a creative, I have child photography, and I think a lot about branding and storytelling and navigating ownership. So the first question is, all of you have created your own platforms, brands, or companies. What made you decide to build something of your own instead of waiting for opportunities within existing systems? And I'm going to go ahead and start with you, Saray.
Okay. Hi, everybody. So for me, it was seeing that I was the only woman or the only Black woman on set. I've have been hired to work on a lot of productions from production companies that are not in the DMV. They have come from LA or New York, and they are white. So with me being the only Black woman on set, or the only woman, it made me feel alone. And, this industry is male dominated. However, I didn't want to feel like that while working. Plus, if you are in a space where there are a lot of men, especially in entertainment, if there's a thin line between working and entertainment, and a lot of the men want to entertain while we're working, and that for me also felt a little uncomfortable. So I said, I think I need to do something for my ladies. I think I need to have a production company for the women, and that's exactly what I did. In 2018 I started Severe Flow Productions, and we've been rocking ever since.
That's beautiful. Hi, everyone. Happy Saturday. I'm so excited to see this crowd, and thanks again to the National Black MBA Association for hosting us. And excited to be here at Trinity Washington University. I think for me, honestly, society is what forced me into launching my own company. So I was graduating from Georgetown for grad school. And, I was like, I went to Maryland for undergrad. And honestly, I thought the job opportunities were just simply going to be there. I was like, I did all my work. I've done the internships. I had the networks and connections. And what I ended up finding out was that everyone told me what I couldn't do when I knew what I could do. And so essentially that's when I was like, you know what, I need to start my own. And I'll tell you, I also had great friends around me who always told me, like, Kelsey, like, you're too big to just be like waiting for an opportunity. And so I'm one of those people when there's not a chair at the table, that's no problem, because God gave me the gifts, talents, and tools and skill set to build my own. But when I built my own, I also wanted to make sure I brought chairs with me, and tools so others could also come along with me. So when I launched my podcast network, Listening with KNN, essentially it was to give Black women a voice in sports. So much like Soraya, in a field where, it's not, unfortunately, enough of us. Like, we're growing. I'm not going to, discredit that. But especially here in DC and being from the area, knowing that, this was a city that was Chocolate City. I do not call it that anymore because it's definitely different. But at the same time, Black excellence and Black greatness was here. I wanted to continue that on. And so essentially that's like when I was like, all right, well, let me just start my own. And to my surprise, like, I thought it was going to be really tough, but like I launched early. My first guest was Brian Mitchell. If you're a Commanders fan, then Redskins fan, you probably know that name. But like, I hit the ground running when everybody's like, wait a minute, like, who is this Black woman that like has all these amazing like sports guests, on her show? But again, I had worked with Brian. I was with her family from Louisiana, so essentially I just had to learn how to, take what I had and build that. But honestly, like I said, the world kind of thrust me into it because everyone was telling me you're not ready for the mic. And I knew I was ready for the microphone. And so I kind of created that space, and I've never honestly turned back. So that was 2016, 2017. officially became an LLC in 2022. And now, yeah, we have employees. We have 2 internship programs that we run. So I'm just grateful, honestly, that I want to listen to God and make sure that society didn't tell me what I couldn't do, but that we're blossoming and blooming and making sure, again, that we're giving back to especially students in this area to get that experience so they can enter the media industry. Thank you.
All right, I just want to do a little vibe check. Can I get everybody to say, hey, Media Money? Hey, Media Money. Perfect. Thank y'all so much for having me. So what led to the Media Sip is I saw a need for the spotlight to be put on indie creators. I had worked with major production companies. I did the BTs and I did the vehicle and all that, and I was just like, y'all are cool, but there are some amazing creators that are right beside me. And I really wanted to open that lane so that they had a spotlight and a space for that. So the Media Sip is all about shining light on those that are really getting it out the mud, really taking their creative pursuits at their own hands, like pulling themselves up by their bootstraps. And of course, we do also highlight those major productions as well. But my main focus was really just highlighting, especially creators that look like me, who don't always get the opportunities just because maybe they don't have, the cosign or even sometimes the funding, but it doesn't take away from the talent. So for me, it's like, I see you over there working, and we're going to put the spotlight on that. So that's what the Media Sip is all about. And I'm so excited for all of the amazing opportunities that continue to be led our way. While we do focus mainly on entertainment media, I think that we are slowly evolving into a hub for all things media so that I can provide more opportunities for other correspondents, entertainment journalists, media journalists in this space. So, yeah.
Bringing it on down to that piece here. I really do want to first, before I give my piece, really highlight the fact that what Monica mentioned about being right next to each other. Media Sip was at my DC screening. And so based off of me inviting her and wanting her to be in the space and being able to have access to it as well. So the folks that you are in the room with right now, I hope that you are doing those connections because they turn into your peers, they turn into your colleagues, they turn into your first responders where you're creating, and you are the first person on my list that I want to be there. But again, good afternoon, everyone. I am Taylor Smith. I'm going to sound like a Right There song because as it was mentioned, I am from St. Louis, Missouri. But echoing what all of these amazing women said on this panel regarding like wanting to move away from being the only and then the first. For me, where Much Love Always Productions came from was actually not society. It actually came from community. It came from my village, and it also came from grief. And so Much Love Always Production was founded in honoring my late father, Robin Terrence Smith, who passed away. Much love always was his saying that he ended everything when he connected with you, whether it was a Facebook message, whether it was a text message. It was who he embodied in this world. My father was the manifestation of love in community. And in my artwork, my art has always shown that. And so I've always been in spaces of media. I've always been in spaces of art. I'm a certified intimacy coordinator, and what that means is that I operate on sets where I help design intimate scenes, but also scenes that require care. So scenes that require a lot of grief, a lot of death, a lot of impact in those spaces. And so what I was seeing in a lot of production companies or just folks in general and up and coming Black filmmakers and Black women in media, we weren't always centering care and trauma-informed practices. And so I wanted Much Love Always to embody that. So while, yes, we are a production company that focuses on creating narratives that talk about Black complexity of life, love, grief, and intimacy, we also have myself, who is an intimacy coordinator that can serve on your sets and spaces there. But we also have historians and curators that also can be contracted out to assist in the development of your story. So much of what folks loved about Ryan Coogler Center is the actual historical work that was done on it. And so through Much Love Always, my background is in also academic research, and my partners are also folks who come from that background. So I have Black women historians whose work focuses on Gullah Geechee. I have Black women works who focus on the love narratives of enslaved Black women and not just the work that they've done. And so I wanted to, yes, move away from, of course, not being the only, but I wanted my production company to be the space where you can come, where you're like, hey, we want to make sure that we are providing care on set. We want to make sure that, yes, we are telling our stories, but we're telling them from an accurate depiction of it. And so if you are doing a story on the Great Migration, please hit us up, because we have the researchers and the scholars that can assist you in doing that, right? And so, but a lot of folks don't know that those are things that you want to even have when you're thinking about shooting your first film. I work with filmmakers in how to operationalize their production. How do you move from just ideation, but also to this space of, I need spreadsheets made, I need to have the administration piece. And so Much Love always came from my family providing care for me, showing up and being support for me. And so I wanted my production company to, one, be predominantly women, and Black women and Black queer women, but I wanted us to be a space where you can come and get those support for care, the parts of creation, so that you can be great and we can help and enhance your stories too.
That's good. Thank you. I wish I had another mic so I could jump in and be like, hey, but let's see if y'all can hear me. You're not hearing my amens over here. But thank y'all. I knew when we put the mic in front of you leaders, like, we would be having gems that were dropped. So I really want to just move into some of the spaces that y'all have been in. What are some of the rooms you've had to fight to get into, and how did you make sure that your voice was heard once you got there? And, you also have created your own platform, so this might be something, in the past, but just as an encouragement to the people who are in the room right now, give us a quick story if you have one. Anybody can start.
I can start. I can definitely start. So the biggest thing for me is I've actually, with starting my platform, released the necessity to fight to get into those rooms. Okay. So for me, my focus and all of my intention and effort is put into our community. Kinship is a big part of what the Media Sip is all about, because I come from a very small town. Y'all probably never heard of it. Not to be confused with Charles County, but it's Charles City County in Virginia. It's right up between like Richmond and Williamsburg, but very small town, but very, very big energy. So I am used to being the underdog. Whenever I go somewhere, there is nobody there that's from where I'm from.
Yeah.
So for me, I've released the need to fight. I was in the military for 10 years. I was military police for 10 years. Wow. I was a high-ranking officer for 10 years as a Black woman, as military police. I'm done fighting. So for me, thank you. But for me, I'm done fighting for those spaces. Yeah. I create and curate spaces for our people. And in that, now I am being invited because they see the equity that is within Black-owned media companies, Black platforms. They see the engagement and the sold-out events and all of the things that I create and curate myself. So those major companies are now coming to me as opposed to me fighting to be around them. Mm-hmm. And for me, the benefit in that is I can walk into those rooms and, like you mentioned, I can bring those tools with me. I can bring people with me. Right. I can say, oh, you need a creative director, I have someone. You need a filmmaker, I have someone. You need an artist, that's my husband, I got somebody for you. Mm-hmm. Like, so, yeah, it's so much power in that. If you need a therapist, I have someone, the Black man's therapist, the Jessica P. Hill. Like, I can just name drop in so many different ways because I've curated that environment, that ecosystem of all people that are like me and like-minded. So I don't have to fight no more because it's like everything that I need, we've already built that community. And then when they come to us, we can slide those numbers across the table.
Yes.
Talk your talk. You go to, and then,
So
your word. We flow it.
we're gonna share. But for me, it's still, I don't like to use the word fight because when I think of fight, it ain't the fight that we doing. It's gonna be another type of fight. So instead of fighting, I say that positioning myself in a lot of rooms, and it is because I felt that I wasn't vocal enough. Like, I knew what I could do, but who else? Who else knows? And I was in a place of feeling like I don't have to prove myself, but you do. And where I am now and what I've been able to do with Surreal Flow Productions and Pretty Content Mentorship Program, which is a mentorship program that helps college students who want to write for television. And we are in all of the Black colleges in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. We also have a partnership with North Carolina A&T, Clark Atlanta University. So we're positioning ourselves instead of fighting. We're making sure you know who we are, what we do, and how we do it, and make sure you know that it's for women. I love you guys, but it's for the women. And I want to make sure you know, I didn't grow up with a sister. I have 2 brothers, and I used to fight them. So I know how to fight, for sure. But when it comes to making sure that production is seen and heard, Surreal Flow Productions is going to make sure if you see us, it's an eye with a film reel in the middle, and you know that's a woman-owned company.
Positioning versus fighting.
Yes.
I really like that. Yeah, I think it gives it a more realistic connotation, right? We're tired of fighting.
For sure. It's exhausting. We'll take it.
Welcome to church. Running past the mic. I'm so happy that Saray mentioned the positioning piece because in previous 30 lives that I have lived, I'm a Gemini, so I like to lead with that. And so, everything that is a possibility in my mind, it comes to fruition because of that. And so, but being from St. Louis, as I mentioned, I'm also from the Ferguson, Florissant area. I was a teacher when Mike Brown was killed. And so when I hear fighting, I go back to the actual fighting that I had to do to protect my students, to protect my younger brother who still lives in St. Louis, my entire family that still lives there. My home is 10 minutes away from Canfield Green. And so that is where I'm from. So when folks tell me about the rooms that you had to fight to get in and to do your work, the fight that I think about is the fight for my people. And so I really don't attest my fight in the work that I do, the things that build me, because the fighting that I save is for the fight of the activism work that I really do when I'm on the ground. But when I am thinking about those spaces, when I'm in difficult conversations where I'm talking with funders, where I'm talking with folks to understand what Much Love Always is producing, or when I'm talking to folks about Need You, or when I'm going up against an old professor who is telling me not to include an image of my father in my short film because they feel that it would not connect with anyone. I'm like, that's an interesting concept because we don't know people in pictures in any other movies that we may watch. So why can't I have my father in this? And so those, rather than fighting, it is how I tailor and pushing back myself to stop myself for showing up. So oftentimes it's an internal battle I'm pushing through rather than fighting who is in front of me or even trying to position myself in front of me. And so I save my fighting for when I actually truly am like, I need to fight. I need to fight right now for this. I need to lobby against this. But when I'm in the spaces, especially of curation, and I need funds, and I'm talking to funders, the battle that I make sure that I'm going up against is within myself. How am I making sure, even if they say no, Taylor, that does not mean you are not worthy. That does not mean that you can't keep going. And so it's the internal battle and making sure I'm positioning myself like how these women have talked about, and recognizing that no matter what, at the essence, at its core, I am more than worthy. I have everything in me. If this no said no, it is that no. I keep going, and then I go back to community to figure it out. I call Monica and be like, hey, they said no. But I save my fights for like when I got to fight, when I got to throw down, I have to make sure that, hey, the unions are striking, SAG, and all of this. Okay, I got to go fight. And so even asking yourself, when are you fighting, when you are positioning, when you are going up against, like, what strategic placing are you doing for yourself? I love all that's been shared, but I will tell you, so I tell any room I go in, I come into that room as a Black woman. That is something I came into this world, and that's the same way I'll go out of this world. And so for me, honestly, I do like the word fight. And Soraya is my DC Chamber of Commerce sister. I will say that, it's my girl. But the reason why I like fight is because, honestly, we live in America, and I don't know a day a Black woman has not had to fight. I just have to give that preface. So I grew up here, but I spent my summers in Jackson, Mississippi. My grandmother lived only a couple blocks from where Medgar Evers was shot and killed. And I said that to say again, so for me, and I go back, I travel, I see what's happening. And so I do think it's fighting, because I have been the first multiple times in my career. That's a problem. It's 2026. We're supposed to live in the most diverse, most educated, city. And honestly, we're in DC. There's a lot happening right now. There's a lot of people fighting. And a lot of Black women. And I'm going to have to preface that because a lot of Black women are out of work right now. So I had to share that. But all I have to say, for me, I think people read my bio, and especially the college. So March Madness is happening now in DC. So I'll be there tomorrow. And then I'm a Heisman voter. And honestly, a lot of times when I'm in a college space, covering collegiate sports. And even honestly, as a professor, I teach not too far from here at George Washington University, and I still think about my students that email me and say I'm the first Black woman professor that they had. And I think back to my own journey, I never had a Black woman journalism professor. And I will say, so I carry that with pride, and the fight in me is to make sure that I'm not the only. It should be a lot. There's so many colleges and universities here. In the college, sports box space, I went to Maryland, I covered Maryland, I look around, so, you first get there. It's not enough. I'm in sports talk radio. It's not enough. I talk everything from SEC in Alabama. I talk New Orleans on WWL a lot. It's not enough. And so I think for me, the fight is why I continue on. Somebody has to do it. Somebody has to carry it on. I love these spaces because it's real. And I don't get to always be in spaces like this. And I felt you. So I'm from Clarksburg, Maryland. Everybody knows us now because we have the only two rural outlets in North America. But nobody knew that before. But honestly, my journey was being in rooms where I was the one. And so that's what I knew. And honestly, it's still like that a lot today. But I think especially for Black women in sports, even to this day, I still have to prove myself to some others. I've done a lot, but every day, that's why I work so hard. I've had the underdog mentality. I only know how to work hard. But America has taught me that. And it reminds me that time and time again, especially working in sports media. Every credential, everybody I can get credentialed, I have to fight. I want to relax. It's nice. But there's just a lot of work to do. So all this, honestly, there's multiple examples. But I know what I'm doing is not just for me. The two things I'm driven by are legacy and impact. And that's what my fight is for. My legacy, my people's legacy, and the impact, right, that it can make. So I appreciate that question. But I'm grateful for all these women up here because I think they are fighting in their fields and what they're doing. The representation, it matters. People are seeing that. They're inspired by that. But again, we're living in a time where DEI programs are getting slashed and cut. We're living at a time where diversity is a bad word. So I do think it's a fight that we have to continue on because there are people now being told no, and people are just saying, the government told me I can. That's a problem.
Yes, I am loving all of these perspectives. I really am. And I think what I'm hearing as a through line is that we have to be strategic about our battles, right? Pick and choose your battles because there is a lot going on right now. And so we need to be the best that we can be when we are in these spaces where we have to make ourselves seen, known, and push power.
Yeah, absolutely.
That actually led, and it was a great segue to my next question, because now I want to talk about those following after you. And so the question is really around where do you see the biggest shifts happening right now for Black women in media? And what does the next generation need to understand about building real power amidst these shifts? And I think each of you have touched on it in different ways, but I would love to just get a sound clip from you for those of us who are, entering into the space. So whoever wants to start.
If I can just talk, but I can. I'm like a broadcast journalist always gonna talk.
Right.
I think for me, when it comes to empowering, the next generation, I talked about having internship programs, always shadowing. I can't tell you how many career days or schools, I constantly talk it because my biggest thing is just, I always say people want two things in life. That's access and opportunity. most of the time people want access to opportunity. And so how can I create that space with my own power? And so I think the roles that I carry, and then honestly, just even entering to entrepreneurship, like that's big. And I think DC has such a vibrant, thriving entrepreneurship scene where you can see entrepreneurs that look like you, but even more so, who are you bringing in the room with you?
Yeah.
And I think that's been the biggest thing. So I think for me, like making sure that the access and opportunity is there. Like I sent my students this opportunity today, and I wanted them to be, in this room because I knew having access to all of these women up here, would mean something really special for them. And so I think it's that, like, how do you give back? So for me, it's like, I know the young people always asking, well, how do I get experience, Professor Nelson and Ms. Kelsey? And that's what I have to help them do. It's a competitive job market, right? Like it's hard. And I think for me, so one of the things I really lean on to, I think the sports space, the positive is that content creators now like are a thing, and you don't have to wait for companies now to give you that first opportunity. Like they will reach out to you because they want your audience. Like they want the people that you're able to reach. And so one of the things I try to teach now was like being an entrepreneurial journalist, because a lot of people are now going to have to start their own companies because companies are shrinking, they're getting smaller, and it is true you have to be the best, but even if you are the best, doesn't mean you're going to get a job, right? And so how do we teach those skills? And so for me, I spent a lot of time talking, I just, thank gosh, I just finished the JP Morgan Coaching for Impact program. And again, it wasn't just for me. I still want to learn the business side. That's why I love that we're talking here at the National Black MBA Association, because you have to learn the business side. Like I meet so many content creators that tell me all these amazing things. I'm like, okay, well, where's the check coming? Where's the money coming from? The rent is always due late. It's about to be April 1st, mortgage, all that stuff. But just make sure that, again, you're empowering people. Again, have access to capital. It's expensive to live here, right? Like, how do you make sure that people are making sure like they have money in their pockets? I think that's the biggest thing. Making sure that people can learn how to not just be an entrepreneur, because it's a hot buzzword right now, but making sure that they have the capital behind that to really sustain themselves long term.
Absolutely. So for production, the shift has been in cinematography. So if you all are familiar with the Oscars, Autumn Aqaba just won Best Cinematography for Sinners. And that is the biggest reason why Severe Film Productions was started, because I started off in that same position wanting to be an award-winning cinematographer. But I realized that my skill was more so in making sure that the business side, like we're talking about right now, was taken care of. So I hire the best cinematographers, and they are women. And, I was just speaking with an investor the other day, and he was asking, like, I want to see your work. I want to know what you've been able to do. And I said, well, he started naming all of these male cinematographers. And I said, well, I would like to let you know that this is a woman-owned and woman-operated business. And he was like, oh, that's perfect. We'll take it. And I said, I'm glad to hear that more men are realizing that women are behind the camera. And it's not just a man writing the story, because a lot of people are familiar with and used to Tyler Perry. A lot of people are used to, these male writers and these male directors and DPs, but they don't realize that it's now women who are carrying these 10-pound cameras and can build a camera out just like a man. Like yesterday, I had an event where we covered a conference for a woman-owned nonprofit. And I had a woman cinematographer, and they were so in awe that the company that I run is ran and operated by a woman. So that's where first the shift starts in production, is being able to employ women and making sure that they are seen and heard. And then also for the second part of the question was for who are we bringing with us, right?
What do they need to know?
Okay, so in our mentorship program, we have a full-on session. We have full-on sessions that teaches them how to budget for a film, how to write their script, how to pitch, how to, have a conversation outside of just knowing what their story is about. Can they tell me their story in 30 seconds or less? And being able to do that, you think that, it's easy. I can tell you about my story. But when it actually happens, they get flustered like, oh, my gosh, I don't really think I know my characters. So giving them that practice makes them feel, a little bit at ease. It takes the nerve off, and it helps them to realize that, okay, yes, I am meeting with someone that is in the industry, but she made me feel human. She made me feel seen. She made me feel heard, and not just trying to make me feel less than. And I want them to know that I did not have a mentor when I was coming into this industry. I had to go find a mentor, and the mentor that I found was a male. And he made sure that what I did and what I knew was factual, and it also made me, presented me in a way that pushed me beyond where I was at that present time. So it was his company, but guess who was closing the deals? Me. I was 24 years old. I'm like, I don't know how to do this. I just graduated college. What do you mean I got to go talk and get checks? How do you do that? But that was preparing me to start my own business. And I was like, well, how do I do this? How do I do that? And everything that I had to do was making me and building me and bringing me on. So somebody that did that for me, now I'm able to do that for a plethora of students in different states, in different cities, and different universities. So that's how we, connect. That's how we shift, and that's how we move the next generation forward.
That's legacy building. That's legacy building. Yeah.
So I absolutely love this question because, especially in the entertainment media space, there is a beautiful shift that's happening right now in that landscape. Just recently, there was a debate about content creators being on red carpets. And it got a little heated, okay? Because, journalists were like, well, baby, I went to this university and I did this. And this girl is like, okay, but I got 500,000 followers. So it brought about a very interesting dialogue, but to me, it just means so many more doors are opening. Wow. Because the beauty in it, and what I kind of answer in both questions and what everyone should know as well, just as inspiration, the power in collaboration over competition.
Yes.
Because if you are a news broadcaster and I'm a content creator with 500K and you've only got 1,200, let's collaborate. Okay. Because in the moments where I do not have, as the content creator, if someone doesn't have the academia to support something, that's where your expertise comes in. And instead of looking at it as we're in competition against one another, that's a collaboration spot right there.
Yeah.
Because what you can say is, well, as a seasoned, and then you can come in and bring your expertise. Yep. And then now that is introducing you to that person's audience, and now you can grow your following as well. Even if down to meteorologists, I tell them, hey, you can be a guest on someone's podcast.
Very true.
You can talk about what you know. There is so much equity in your experience. Do not let anyone discount that, whether you are someone that's up and coming or you are a seasoned vet. You have to learn how to collaborate in a way that is going to be beneficial to you both. So don't look at it as someone is taking an opportunity or it's, some slight to you. Look at how you can be a benefit to one another.
Yeah.
I have an entertainment podcast and I have interviewed chefs to say, so who was your favorite chef in a movie? Now we're both being exposed to both audiences. Even, I want to shout you out, Spotlight DMV. We typically, hey girl. But this is actually, she has a platform as well that she's building. One to say that we do the same thing,
Right.
but she does it in a different way. I focus more on entertainment media. She covers local events. She does everything.
Yeah.
That's never going to stop me from being like, girl, you want to come to this?
Yeah.
You're doing this red carpet? I'm here. You're there. They got more spots. It's all about building that network and that ecosystem.
Right.
So the biggest thing, collaboration over competition.
Yeah.
Everybody needs. I have to follow up all of you in this conversation. But one thing that I really want to add in, especially about what I want folks to take in when we are talking about media, entertainment, creation in that space, I want to give shout out to a Black woman-owned organization called the Colored Girls Liberation Lab. Owned by Jennifer Roberts. She is a Spelman grad, but she created this organization called the Colored Girls Liberation Lab, which really focuses on Black women dreaming.
Yes.
And the reason why I am shouting them out is because during my season of caregiving, I identify as a caregiver. I was caregiving for my father for 10 years before his passing while living in BC in grad school, full-time teaching at GW, also doing some artwork on the side, and also on a PhD track at the same time and flying home every month. And without the Colored Girls Liberation Lab, Much Love Always Productions would not be here today. And the reason being is because I think something that is so important when you are an entrepreneur, when you are also trying to figure out what you are doing, where you are going, you need to have space to dream. Dreaming is a revolutionary act. Okay, when they work you so hard, it is so that you do not dream, so you do not see yourself, so you cannot see what you want to actually happen. And so I think it is very important when we talk about dreaming, when you listen the Oscars and everyone speaking, when you hear Tiana Taylor talk, when you hear Ava DuVernay, when you hear Solange talk, and you see all of these amazing things that they allow themselves to go into, whether it is dance. Tiana Taylor's in culinary arts school right now, and it's because they dream and they see themselves doing it, even if they have no idea how. And so one thing that I want each and every last one of you all to take away and to add into your professional practice, I know all of y'all got an agenda. You done probably got a planner. You got your Google Calendar. You got your spreadsheet. It might be some people in here who got a whole little Google spreadsheet that they have made. I want you to block off time to dream. If you do not have a dreaming hour or a dreaming practice, then you will not go far. And I mean that so much. I literally have on my calendar, I have an hour block to dream. And that hour block is every Monday at noon. I dream. It is whether I hop on the Colored Girls Liberation Lab Zoom meeting that is 1 hour long. It is blocked off my calendar. I also have a full-time job while being a full-time filmmaker. And that is okay.
Yes,
It is.
That is okay. I'm a full-time entrepreneur while being a full-time contractor, but I also have that blocked off. And so one thing that I want folks to take in as you are thinking about how the industry is shifting and changing, a lot of folks are talking so much about like, do all the things, get to all of these. You can't get to it without dreaming. You can't get to it without being imaginative. You can't get to it without having those moments where you are enjoying your family, enjoying your loved ones. And so whatever you have to do, I want you to look at it, even if you are an undergrad student, if you're a graduate student, even if you got all the kids at home, everybody, you the one they go to figure out things. I want you to create a practice of dreaming. I want you to create a practice of just existing and seeing the things. You don't have to do it just yet, but I want you to have a practice of seeing it. If you got a junk journal, take the things in it that you see that excite you, place it in there. If you got a Google Drive, just jot down things. I'm a fan of Last Holiday. All of y'all create a possibility list. Create it. Have fun with it. Make it not make sense. That is how Much Love Always production got here. I never knew of a production company that had historians on site that you could book for sessions. I didn't know of any other Black women intimacy coordinators who focus in grief, who focus in these things. And it's because I had time where I was laying on my floor, just looking up in the sky, and I'm like, what am I thinking about? So on top of, yes, having the business practices, because yes, make sure you got your tax accounting, make sure you got the people, you got a legal person on site who's looking at contracts, who is the CPA, who can you call, who knows sync licensing for music, yes, all of that. But none of that matters if you are not dreaming. Because what ends up happening is you start living other folks' dreams. You start using their dreams as your possibility model. And you are your own possibility model, but you have to create space to create those dreams. So that is what I would add into that.
Taylor B. Smith.
We literally have to drop the mic now. So I know y'all got some gems from that question right there, and I'll just share my personal ones, but I want to collab. I would love to collaborate. And also just putting in that space and time for dreaming. Oh my gosh, like, love that. Because we're so busy sometimes. And I do have a spreadsheet and I do have the calendar. However, I need to put in that time for just dreaming. So that's beautiful. So I've been told we have time for one more question. And I'm actually going to just use this time for you all to spotlight yourself. what you're working on right now, what you want people to know about. Share your social media. Everybody get your pens out to take notes. And we'll go ahead and start with you, Soraya.
Okay, so currently I have a documentary that is in post-production. It is called I Am a Pretty Image.
Can we clap for that?
I'm sorry. It is focused on Black women in the area who are business owners. And we focus on the conversation about what image means to you. And a lot of times women business owners are overlooked. Specifically, I put myself in the story. I didn't want to, but my interns was like, Miss Mack, you have to be better than opinions about your business. So, but the concept came from myself being a producer, but going on sets, people would think I'm the makeup artist or the fashion stylist. And I'm like, this is my production. So I wanted to give other business owners that opportunity to share their story. And we dug a little deep for them to be able to share what they've experienced over the course of their time being a business owner. And then they talk about the services that they provide, the products that they sell. And then it's just, like very much a conversation, but the way that I put it together is more so artistic. It goes back into my time of growing up in a child. My mom is here. Even the rest, I said my mom. So my mom, I'm her only daughter. So when I was a little girl, she was like always dressing me in frilly dresses and the cutest little things. And I share that in the documentary because that's where image came from me, from my mom. Like she made sure that I always looked presentable, and I could not go out the house with a bonnet on. I could not go out the house with pajamas on. Like, it wasn't happening. So that stuck with me from childhood to now. Like, I am very much that person. Like, I cannot go out the house unless I'm presentable. And it makes sense because I work in production. I always got to be presentable because somebody will like, sit in the floor, I'm like, oh, God. And people been saying this to me all week, like, girl, I know you from somewhere. And I'm like, I don't know, but hi. So I make sure I try to be loving and open to everybody because, I don't want that stigma on like, oh, she had a nasty attitude. Like, I hate that with women, like, especially in production and entertainment. You're going to meet people on the red carpet. You're going to see people at different events, and you want them to have a pleasant experience with you. So I make sure, even if I don't know you, I'm going to act like I know you. We cousins some type of way. So I make sure I do that. So that's what's happening right now. When the screening comes out, all of you will be known, informed about coming out to support the documentary. You can follow me everywhere at Soraya Flow, website SorayaFlow.com. We also are working on a story about my dad. Shout out to Taylor. I was the daddy's girl too. I did take care of my dad before he transitioned as well. So I understand your grief, and your passion for your dad. But it's a story called Shots of Love. It's a little deep. It focuses on tragedy, love, partying. But just a little backstory I'm gonna give y'all. The story is it shows how we go from having fun to death. So in the story, it focuses on how my grandfather was, he was an alcoholic. And what he did was he was trying to protect his family. They were having a game night. A family friend was stealing the money. My grandparents had 9 children. My grandfather saw the lady try to take the money. And when he warned her to put the money down, she played it off as if he was just too drunk to know what's going on. So he said, if you don't put it down, I'm going to kill you. And he was serious. He went upstairs, got his gun, came back downstairs, warned her again. She did not listen. My grandfather shot the gun. My grandmother jumped in front of the gun and saved her friend, and my grandmother died. So that's the story we're focusing on. I'm making it into a series. I'm in talks with people right now to put that story. But that story is how I'm staying connected to my grandparents and actually my dad now since he's transitioned. So it's coming. It's coming. And what else? I think we have one more story that's coming too. It's going to be an actual feature film. But that is who I am. You can follow me. You can come up to me with questions. I'm happy to talk to anybody about pretty much consulship mental programs. We have applications open right now. And we also are having a Sips and Scripts a happy hour for people who are interested in film and television. Follow us on social media because we're going to release the date really soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Sorry I was long-winded.
Look, we love books are busy. Well, first off, thank you again for being here. You guys can be anywhere else on a Saturday. Okay, she has one more thing.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I have one more thing. We have a play that's on tour right now that I am producing and managing. It's called I've Cried the Blues. It has Candace from Potomac Housewives as the lead, and Doe from the Walls Group, Doe Walls from the Walls Group as the leading guy. So if you have family that's in Connecticut, let them know, but also follow us because we're going to be doing a tour with the play as well. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Look, you gotta believe yourself. That's a good call to do it. Again, Kelsey Nicole Nelson. Everyone calls me K&N. That is my brand. My website is just kelseynicolenelson.com. Oh my gosh, I feel like Soraya, but I'm also going to be mindful of time. One of the things I'm super excited about, though, that I'm doing is I'm launching my own newsletter. Yes. It's going to be on LinkedIn. It's called Playful Banter, and it's everything of how sports and entertainment really inspire societal change. And it's going to be honestly, realistically me. So no longer just being politically correct. But yeah, I just want to put my pen on words. And I've just been in that space. Like I teach writing. I started in writing and poetry. And so it feels good to go back to my roots. So I'm super excited about that. My company, Listening with Kanan, also we just launched another LinkedIn newsletter called the Sports and Entertainment Express. And then we just launched a e-newsletter called Beyond District Sports and Entertainment. I'm sure you all saw what happened with sports in this area with the Washington Post Sports Department. So we have launched a DMV Sports Rundown and a Baltimore Sports Rundown because our student athletes, they deserve better. It deserve recognition. And so we're going to make sure that we're giving the spotlight to the talent that comes here because I'm a DMV girlie. So we always say the DMV breeds ballers. And so I'm super excited about the talent that's coming out. And then I have a lot of speaking engagements coming up. Easiest way to do it, though, my social is at the Real K Nelson. But I have a communications consulting company, too, called Cription. And super excited. I'm launching my Cription Speaker Academy. So actually partnering with athletes, brands, and leagues to help them with public speaking and media training. I'm sure you guys know this, but public speaking is the number one fear. It could never be for me. I come from a Black Southern family. My grandmother also had 9 kids. And so I had to learn how to talk very early. Very early. It's funny because my sister's completely opposite, and she's an introvert. But being the extrovert, but I just want to show people that own their confidence. How you walk into a room, how you present yourself, it matters. We live in a networking city. And so just trying to use the talents and gifts that God gave me and spread them on to others. And I just want to show that our board execs, our athletes, they look good when they're, but also, keep it real to themselves too. The authenticity, it matters. It's real and people remember you. So super excited to launch all of that. But again, super excited to be here and keeping engaged with you all. So thank you so much.
My parents did good.
I love it. So the Media Sip is launching a lot of fun things, y'all. So I need everybody to lock in. These movie companies are giving me free tickets and I need people to give them too. So the best way to lock in, Instagram at the Media Sip, our YouTube, you can subscribe. Everything is at the Media Sip and Hey Media Money. Let me hear her say, Hey Media Money. Hey Media Money. Perfect. Y'all already do it. So you can search me on all things. I'm on all social media platforms, but our YouTube is the main space for my content. And then, like I said, the Media Sip is where you can see all of those great things that I do have to give away. We are partnering with AMC right now for a movie meetup for the new Halle Bailey, and y'all remember the fine gal from Bridgerton? Yes. Yeah, they have a rom-com coming out. They have a rom-com coming out. And to be honest, it went viral like earlier this week. There is a Black filmmaker that said studios told her they're waiting to fund her project to make sure that this project does well. So when I heard that, I said, say less. Right. Reached out, pitched myself to AMC. So I'm now hosting a movie meetup. There will be giveaways. There will be promotional things from the studio itself. So y'all want to get in there. And then, of course, we go out, we have drinks, we talk, we discuss the movie. Because the biggest part of my brand is kinship, is community. Yeah. So the only way you can get in on that, though, is you got to be following me. I can't just get it all the way. But no, I do have, within that, I have a broadcast channel where I drop all of those links. For if you're a Facebook girly, I'm also there. We have a media sip group chat on there as well, where we talk about all things movies, TV shows. I drop a lot of the free links there as well. And all you have to do is register and you get free tickets. You get advanced screenings. We just did the screening for Project Hail Mary, so we were able to see that before that came out. So if you want to tap into all those things, and most importantly, like I said, collaboration over competition, I am ready to sit down with you and let's chat. Let's chat, y'all. Let me get you on the podcast. We can talk about all things entertainment, but I am also, through my own production company, inspired by my late father as well, Parachute Productions. I know, right? All the time. But inspired and to honor his legacy, I do have a production company where I produce other podcasts as well. And right now we are working on an amazing series known as In Our 20s, because is anybody still in that decade? Hold up. Period. Who said me too? Yeah. So, as we all know, especially for those that are still in it, your 20s is a wild ride in the most beautiful way. So right now we're working on a series, like I said, it's called In Our 20s, and we really just deep dive into that decade that ultimately defined us. And it's everything from love stories to family, because a lot of us, that's when we first start to notice, like, oh wow, I'm an adult and my parents may be aging. Or I'm an adult and my grandmother is sick. Like, it's kind of like those moments. So we just deep dive into all those things, especially the dating part. This area in dating, that should be a series in itself. So, it's okay. But even though, like I said, the main thing is entertainment media, I am all about spotlighting us and our stories. And that is my particular way of storytelling, is podcasting. So if you have an interesting journey you want to share, you're ready to chat, I am here for you. And before I hop off the mic, can we please shout out Barter Black? Hey, girl. I recently covered her launch party as well. And I said all that to say, if you have an event, you are a business owner, anything that you're working on, you need coverage. You can have the media sit through coverage as well as Spotlight DMV. So again, y'all, just always that collaboration over competition. Let me know what you have going on, even if it's not something I can support. I know who to send you to. If it's sports, I got somebody. Like, just let me know.
The creative and the creative producer in me is like, we need to do a Daddy Girls podcast episode. Yes, into our warehouse. But on LinkedIn, Much Love Always Productions, that is us on LinkedIn. I always like to tell folks, I'm always interested in getting Black women on set, even if you have like no experience. If you're like, hey Taylor, do you have a production or thing coming up and you got like 2 hours, I would love to just come and see how this looks. I think seeing things is also very powerful. So I really do enjoy giving folks access. And all I can say is, not this day, but this day you can definitely come on and all those things there. I do want folks to talk to me about dreaming. What are you interested in? Like, just say the things. And so Much Love Always Productions on LinkedIn. On Instagram is Much Love, the letter A, Productions. It'll come up. There's a sunflower, my father's favorite flower, that will come up. That is the production company. Need You, my short film that debuted and screened in DC February 12th, is now in the festival circuit. So we are waiting to find out what additional festivals that we will be accepted in. Outside of those festivals, Need You is also available to screen privately for organizations, high schools, colleges, and universities. And so if you are interested in having a screening of Need You with the panel, whether it is with just director, cast, and crew, and also grief counselor or those who specialize in the conversations around grief, you can talk to us about that and we can bring that to your institution, to your organization. We are working and collaborating with the Urban League, the DC Thursday Network, to bring it to them during this summer. We are also going to my alma mater, Hampton University, and working with their grief counseling center in the fall to screen Need You and then have the conversations around it. Need Need You was designed not to just watch and lead, but to actually have the conversation about grief, sisterhood, and community, and what it looks like to move past the funeral and into your everyday life, and how grief shows up. And so that is one of the things there. Need You is literally Need You Film on Instagram. It'll come up. That is the best way to stay up to date where we're going, where we've been accepted, all of the things in that space there. Currently, I am working with Paramount Studios and Hampton University. I am shooting a documentary telling the story about the Emergency Student Support Fund that was founded at Hampton University to keep students to not just maintain within the school, but also how financial support from alumni associations truly do the movement and the work of our historically Black colleges and universities. And so we just wrapped up production day in New York last week, and so we are now moving into post-production for that, with the first screening being in May. I'm also in development and production for another documentary on an African-American woman by the name of Mary Smith Peak out of Alexandria, Virginia, but then going into the 757, where she was the first African-American woman to teach freed and enslaved Black folks coming from the contraband camps at the age of 16. And so my best friend, who is a historian and curator, we are producing this story to tell the story about Mary Smith Peak, and not just about her teaching those students, but her life. She has a lot of interconnections with the boy and all the folks there. And we want to tell more about her, not just what when you Google and see, oh, she taught Black folks, that is great. Yes, but also she did it when she was 16. There's so much more about her story. And so we are doing that and working with the Black Freedom and Southern Foundations there. And so staying up to date is really important in those spaces. You can connect with me afterwards. I can give you all of my information. But the other piece is that I love to collaborate. I love to sit down. If you were able to attend my screening, my cast and crew talked a lot about the ways in which I operate on set. If you are a director and it's your first time and you want to talk about how can I really operationalize, how can I make sure that there's carers on set, who did you use for your catering companies, how did you make sure that everyone was safe, sound, how did you do it? Let's talk about it, because I want folks to leave your set saying that this was the best set that I've ever worked on, and that they then, when they go to other ones, they have this model where they're like, these women that I've worked with set a precedent for me. And so I always love to sit down and talk with people about what I use, how I've designed things, because again, that is how I also learned. I asked questions. I was like, what did your production binder look like? And so I would love to talk more with folks about that. Even if your production is only 3 hours, like we can sit down, we can talk about it. I may say again, I don't have time this week, but we can hop on a call this week, and then we can do those things. And so that is what I have. I'm so thankful to be here with all of y'all. Definitely afterwards, we can connect more.
And before I forget, if you're Fox 5 fan, I'll be on there Wednesday at 2. So take that too. We'd love to have you all. I will shout out this group, by the way, at the end of the segment. But thank you all again so much for the space.
Thank you.
All right, and as one final plug-in, I'm the owner of Charm Photography. You can follow me at CharmX Photography on Instagram, or go to charmxphotography.com. I specialize in events and headshots, portraits. But let's give a round of applause to our wonderful dynamic panel here. I hope you are leaving inspired like I am. Thank you very much.